is the plan to have the drones fully automated, or do you still need a pilot?
So the drones, the way that the regulatory system works is kind of complex. You need initially visual observers to monitor the drone. The plan, and the reason why I mentioned that the regulatory environment is getting really good, is because there's now what's called BVLOS approval with no visual observers, which essentially means the drones can fly beyond visual line of sight. So however far they want within the sort of specifications, usually it's 5 to 25 kilometers, and they can conduct their operations without somebody having to watch it. So a big bottleneck was that you needed an individual watching the drone as it was doing a delivery. So these companies would spend money hiring people to drive their cars to watch the drone as it does a delivery. Huge waste of money, huge waste of time. So we picked the Toronto Islands and places like Nanaimo as well, where it makes sense to do these deliveries because we can still maintain that visual line of sight on the drone, but the drone is fully autonomous completely. So for many years, the drone, the tech has actually arguably almost been there. It's more of been the regulatory environment as well as the battery life. And so as this is getting a lot better, it's opening up these new sort of avenues for things like drone delivery.
And how does it work in terms of, like, for the Toronto Islands, would like a car pick up the food, drive it to the pilot, and then you hook it up and then it goes, or
Depends.
How does that work?
So if say you wanted Italy, we delivered Italy a few times, which is all the way up on Bloor Street.
Yeah, Italy,
a car would pick that up, but we had a strategic location where we had about 10 or 15 restaurants that was in a plaza that we would then have the drone launch out of. And so there's two different models that you can do.
Like a hub and spoke type
Exactly.
model, yeah.
And in the earliest days, we did have that where the car would drive to the location to minimize the distance between. But the reality is, for the Toronto Islands, there's no alternatives.
Yeah.
And so it's a perfect solution. People didn't really mind. But in the future, that defeats the purpose. We want to have it where the drone goes from the restaurant to the individual's backyard, lowers it via a winch, and then returns back to the base.
And how often are people ordering from Toronto Islands? Are they like munching down?
Oh, they're munching down. Yeah. It's pretty frequent. I would say, like, on our best days, we're getting like 50 to 60 deliveries in.
Oh, wow.
And so we're at over I think we're at almost 3,000 or 4,000 now. We have to calculate it, go through all the data, but it's each flight that we're doing, we collect a lot of telemetry from, video recordings. And so I think our biggest advantage is actually not necessarily what people might think. Like, we're collecting all the data and we're using it to retrain some of the autonomous models on the drone. And that, in our mind, is a huge value add. And it's how we develop a lot of the IP for this.
That's what, okay. Yeah.
Similar to like how Teslas do it, where each car is recording data and it's using that data to train the model so that they're performing better. We're on a much earlier scale than them, but having done several thousand autonomous kilometers already, the models are pretty good. And so that's part, again, being in San Francisco, you have really, really talented researchers who are able to kind of put their coding expertise on a lot of this and do things with computer vision that my limited knowledge is not able to do.
Understood.